Okay, guys, we're going to be looking at Ask Scruff. Let me just flick this over and pull up the question. So, down in the Trader Clinic, Ask Scruff, there's a question here. Hey, Scruff, hope you had a cracking holiday. We had a great holiday. Genuinely did. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good.
We certainly did. Although we did come back and we have a little visitor. There it is. Not exactly little. That is Roxy. Say hello to the world, Roxy. All right, then don't. Our son's decided to come and stay with us. Anyway, been working your way through all the videos, and you can find on the video, and you try on the videos, and you can find on the river, and you're just trying to back test it at the moment. Okay, let me talk to you a little bit about back testing. Do you count all the pips, even when you're taking partial profits at each level, then divide by 4? Not rightly sure what you're driving at there, but the answer is yes, you are looking at the pips. So, and if you're then pulling stop to risk free and price closes beyond, does it come back as 0? Well, it depends on, well, yes, if right, okay. When you're back testing, it's always a perfect scenario. Now, I do sort of a back forward test. What that means is I'll back test the scenario that I'm looking to get into. Now, you're looking at the river. The river is a 2-stage trigger system based on trend following. So what you would do is you would look to see if it's triggered, and that would give you your entry point. And then you look to see where the highest point it got. Okay, now that would give you what's called the sort of like the bandwidth of the trade. In other words, entry to best exit. Okay, now that'll give you a pip count up to that point. Now, if you want to delve into it a little bit further, you would then go, right, okay, I'll be taking profit here, here, and here at said levels. Now, that could give you an idea as to how many scaling points you would have. And then, yes, if it didn't get to a scaling point and then return to 0, it would be a nil trade because it never got to a profit-taking point. Now, the problem with backtesting is it's always a perfect world. It doesn't quite work that way. So all I ever use it for, and this is why when I see people rattle on about these things, saying, yeah, you got to back test one thing, another. Yeah, it's fine. Go back about 5 years, you know, two to 5 years, and just look to see if the premise plays out more than it doesn't. It'll give you an idea of win and hit rate. Now, the river runs at around 65% to 70%, but its risk reward, if that's what you're going down, is pretty darn good. But you've got to bear in mind, you've got to have the Billy Bollocks to hold the trade. That's why I prefer the hybrid river, whereas you use a sort of swing trading method to get in, but then you manage it on a day trade and then you're getting paid all the time. Back testing things like that is quite difficult. So that's where you do a forward test as well. So that's why it's called back forward testing. So you go back, you see if your premise is okay, that it's going to give you plenty of triggers. Those triggers give a decent hypothetical pip count, and then you put it into practice. Now, I'm doing a one at the moment on a weighted golden eye. It's no different than what I'm doing, but I operate it with something like this. So this morning, put in the scenario that I'm after, gave me an opportunity. It told me to buy it. It gave me a reasonable target, and it's sort of scored and graded it out. And then I'll put it into this sort of thing here. Now, this particular sheet is now a forward test of that, and I'm looking to do around at least 100 trade ideas or 30 days. Now, I'm probably going to do a bit of both and keep it running. Now, at the moment, this has done 38 trade ideas. In other words, that's the scenario that I want, but I do break trades. So I'll have multiple positions within a trade idea. 38, every single one of them is won. And it's done this for 16 days straight. So the last 16 days, and I know it's short sample of time, which is why you've got to keep on going. It's won every single one of them. I do it with real money because I want to see the emotional side of it, but I also want to see if it's possible to build an account at the same time. So it's 100 quid. It's working on a 20 pip target for the day. So it's 100 pips a week. It'll also compound the position size, because that's the next part. It's compounding the position size rather than the balance. And it's giving me a day target to achieve all the time. Now, after today, because we have achieved, well, we almost achieved. We've got one trade left to do. That'll increase. But my day target for today was £3.9. So we're at £2.99 at the moment, because it's had two positions running and it's done 20 pips. But position size was slightly out of whack. And there we go. So it was in a trade and it was a scalp and it won. And then you just run it across, because bear in mind, this does round things up. And there's the two winning positions. Okay. So what we do with this, just to sort of recap, to give you an idea of what's going on. So I put an account size in here. It automatically works out what the pip size should be for the start of the day. Put in the pips, what I want for a day total. Well, I'm looking at a minimum of 20 pips a day, which for tomorrow, if we're starting, would be 315. So I would take that 315, put it in the day target here. So I know what I have to do with that. It's telling me the current growth in sort of pounds and pence, which is 57.56, which is actually a growth of 57%. Telling me the balance. Put the date in when it started and the winning streak. Now up to now, it has 16 winning days running across. Now on this side, because this section here tells me the trade ideas. So it tells me the days of the week that I'm trading, how many of the trade ideas I've won, what the products are, whether it's a mixed bag or whether I looked at a single product, what the win rate is, and the P&L on the day. This section looks at the trade itself. So there's been 60 positions out of those 38, with an average of 1.4 positions open for each trade idea. So that'll tell me how many splits on average I'll be running. And those positions have averaged 91.7% win rate, because some of them do get sacrificed. As you can see, there are losses. Tells me what the pip count is across the day as we going, and then what the winning ratio is for each particular day. Now, some days are not as good as others, but it's looking pretty good. You put in here what your starting balance is for the pip. So at the minute, we're running at 15p per pip. Now, tomorrow that's edged up. So tomorrow we'll be starting at 16p. Then what we do here is we look across the 3 sessions. So Euro starts at 7 o'clock, London starts at 8, and then you can just plot your day out. If you're sitting down and there's no trade, but then yes, a trade comes in and it wins in the hour, brilliant. You might be in a trade for a few hours, so you entered the trade here, so you put in trade, and it's all done with a drop down box, guys, a little drop down box. All right, so in trade for 3 hours, and then what it was, well, it was a B set up and it won, A set up and it won, and then as soon as you've hit your day target, just drop in day target, so you can see across the day very quickly how many trades you take, sort of thing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 trades won, and then you hit your target. It'll tell you to stop, because over trading is a killer. What it'll also do is start highlighting exactly where all your winning trades are. Now mine seem to come in between 7 and 10 in the morning. You get a big bunch of winning trades in and around this time. Around this time it gets a little bit difficult, and I don't particularly trade too much during the night. but it would run through, and then these little blocks here tell you. So New York would start on the 2 o'clock candle. This one starts at 11 o'clock candle, runs through, and then all you do is just make a quick list across here, just what the winning positions are, and it'll add them up, and you can see exactly which ones won, lost, etc. It's a very good sheet. It's very intuitive, and it helps you plan out exactly what it is that you're after. Now, just to give an idea, so tomorrow be the 17th day. You go to Tuesday, golden eye. We'll just say that we trading that again, and we'll be starting at 16p. That gets it ready, and then I would just change that to whatever the balance is, which is that, and then it's ready to rock and roll. So that's how you forward test, and you run it till you feel really comfortable with it. Now, personally, I think about 30 days is the minimum you want to forward test something, and you certainly want 100 trade ideas under your belt just to get a feel of the market. So that's how I would do it, Luke, and it's the way I've built things up over the years. Everything takes time. You know, you can't just go, oh, that's an amazing system, look at it for half an hour and then away. That's just foolhardy. And I see it all the time in the industry. They want instant gratification, but they're not willing to put the work in behind it. It takes months. And if you're not willing to put the months in, well, you're going to find that you're jumping from system to system. That creates a failure. If you're jumping from system to system, you will naturally overtrade. That creates a failure. But if you look at a single system, in this case the river, you plot to see that you're happy with the trigger system. So you can check it on a day chart or a 4-hour chart just to see that you're happy. Look at the bandwidth of what those pips can give you across a decent data sample. If you're happy with that, brilliant. Then put it into a 30-day forward test and see if you're happy. Hope that helps. Catch you soon.